Hi everyone, and a warm welcome to Low Season Traveller Insider Guides. This past month, we were invited over to the Islands of Tahiti by our good friends at Tahiti Tourisme so that we could learn exactly what the experience is like for visitors during the low season period. The Islands of Tahiti are arguably among the most stunningly beautiful in the world. Formed from the demise of 3 volcanoes, these islands have not only an incredible natural beauty, but they also have an ancient, rich and diverse cultural heritage which remains strong to this day. In this series, we seek to learn more about the traditions, beliefs, culture and heritage as we set out to discover the true essence of Tahiti when we meet the Tahitians. Episode 5. Mareva. Mareva Leu is the director of the International Oceanic Documentary Film Festival, which is held every year in Tahiti. Running on the 4th to the 12th of February, FIFO Tahiti, as the festival is known, sees documentary filmmakers from all over the Pacific region and beyond gathering together to share their films and in so doing challenge the status quo of Polynesian life, history and culture. I caught up with Mareva in one of the beautiful parks in Papeete in order to learn more about the work of FIFO and how it's a medium which challenges us all to consider all facets of Pacific life whilst also challenging the stereotypes and prejudices which still exist today. As Mareva explains to me in this episode, FIFO is helping Pacific Islanders to truly tell their own story. Enjoy. Thank you so much for joining us here in Tahiti. We're in this lovely park setting and it's quite pleasant. Tell us a little bit, first of all, about you have a role at an organisation called FIFO.
Yes, sure.
Tell me a little bit about FIFO. What does FIFO do and what's it all about?
Well, FIFO is a film festival that occurs in February in Tahiti. And this festival focuses on the documentary genre and only on films dealing with Oceania, meaning all the countries in the Pacific, in the South Pacific region between Australia, Timor-Leste, up until Eastern Polynesia. Wow. So it encompasses Australia, New Zealand, New Caledonia as well, Samoa, Fiji, Guam, all those Pacific Island countries. And we do screen films, documentary films dealing with those islands, talking about their cultures, their people, the history, also the political issues sometimes. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of times actually. And yes, that's it.
Politics comes into everything, doesn't it?
Yes, it is.
Always. Would you say then that it's a fabulous festival? Is this a way of helping to preserve and protect the cultural heritage of the region in a way?
The very first goal was actually to promote and to reveal Oceania to the rest of the world, because the Pacific region is very rich and diverse, culturally speaking, historically speaking as well, but it is still not that well known abroad in the US or the European countries as well. So that was the very first goal. It was to reveal Oceania by the Oceanians. So the documentary genre was the very best choice that the organizers had when they set up the festival at first.
And how long has the festival been running?
It's going to be the 20th edition next year. Yes.
And so when's that? When's the 20th edition? That's in February, did you say?
In February, from the 4th to 12th of February.
Right. So during the low season.
During
I have
the low
to say
season.
That, of course.
During the low season, during the raining season.
Fabulous. And do many tourists come in from around the region to celebrate it?
You mean FIFO?
Yeah.
Well, no, not that much, because it's obviously a low season and people usually don't travel at that time of the year. But we do invite some filmmakers or people from the film industry to attend the festival. So we have a few people coming from abroad, mainly from Australia, New Zealand, France as well, and during the festival.
And do you have is it? I'm imagining some of the festivals that we have in Europe. Is there like an awards then for the best film? And I'm sure there's a number of different awards then.
Yes.
And that's held every time as well.
Yes, so we do.
What have been some of the good? What have been some of the most recent sort of winners or standout films that have spoken to you the most? That you've sort of thought, actually, that was a truly wonderful.
Well, I will just talk about this year's winning films at the 2022 festival, which was in February 2022. The grand prize was awarded to a film titled Oceans Apart, which talks about the sports industry within the Pacific Islands, and talks about the inequalities between players, rugby players from Pacific Islands and those from the big nations like Australia or New Zealand. And the film addresses actually the question of racism in sports. So yes, I think it was a very good film, and that is totally updated, because still today we do have that kind of prejudice that a lot of people would think that it would be a thing of the past, but actually no, it's still running.
It's hard to believe in 2022.
Yes.
That there's still that amount of kind of prejudice, really. It's very sad. Is there a kind of a hope that the films like this, Oceans Apart, you said it was called?
Yes, Oceans Apart.
Oceans Apart will, in some way, maybe showcase and highlight the fact that this is still happening in 2022, and then hopefully maybe start to change attitudes and change the system in
yes,
some way.
Obviously. I mean, it's within the very nature of documentaries to try to highlight a problem and make the things change, because and even in the industry now, a lot of documentary filmmakers are including what we call impact production strategies when they prepare and write the films, because the goal is not only to make a film but also to make a change.
Yeah.
So that's why the documentary is. I think it's the best genre to make that happen.
Yeah, you see a lot now of documentaries. We're seeing a lot on obviously Netflix.
Yes.
Are very good, but there's some brilliant documentaries, and they are. I get the feeling that they are affecting change. I feel like it's quite an exciting time at the moment for talented filmmakers out there. You know, there's been a number of really interesting ones on Netflix recently. You know, Seaspiracy, and these kind of ones, which are, you know, really educating, informing, and arguably becoming a catalyst for change. I think it's fascinating. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Happy to hear that.
Yeah. You also could be described as somebody who's obviously, you know, you clearly have a passion for the culture and heritage of the region. And while we're here, and we have you here, I thought it would be good to sort of, I suppose, probe a little bit and learn a little bit more from you as to, you know, what does it mean for people on the other side of the world as we're from, and we very rarely go to places like Tahiti on the other side of the world and French Polynesia. This is a difficult question, I know, but what does it mean to be a Tahitian or to be a French Polynesian?
That's a really tough question, actually. Yes.
Is it an unfair question?
It is quite unfair because for centuries we've been described by others, and we are trying now to reconnect to our nature and to our culture. Things are not perfect, like everywhere, but a lot of people try to do their part in the cultural restoration. I don't know how to call it. I don't have a real. I mean, I don't know what would be the accurate word for that. But for example, the Heiva.
Yes.
Is maybe the biggest cultural festival in Oceania. At least here in French Polynesia, it is the biggest cultural festival, and which focuses on dancing and chants, traditional chants as well. And the people who are, the artists who does the Heiva, and the dancers, the singers, also the musicians, all of them do have do appeal to that it's a kind of voyage into not into the past but into our culture. I don't know how to say it other way.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting though, because I'm fascinated by cultural heritage because it's who we were and it's who we are, and arguably it's who we're going to be. And there's a very good friend of mine he's the president of the World Tourism Association for Cultural Heritage, and he always says our cultural heritage is the invisible skin we wear which protects us and defines us. And I think that's a really interesting definition. And that's why what we try to do on Low Season Traveller is to try and encourage people to really get under the skin of the cultural heritage. Otherwise, you're just looking at a destination with palm trees and beaches, and there's no differentiation between different destinations.
Yes. I would say that the cultural heritage is also what makes us a people. It's a kind of common values and also maybe an idealistic view of what we have been, what we are today, and what we are going to be tomorrow, maybe. And but that's what makes us whole. And yes, I really don't know how to say it the other way.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to pin down.
No, it's not.
I was reading it was this morning actually on LinkedIn. There was an article which had been shared, and it was saying that cultural heritage across, in particular, it was focusing on the Pacific Islands. It was saying on this particular opinion piece that it's critically endangered in many islands in the Pacific, as everything is getting amalgamated into a Pacific culture, that there are individual islands and groups of islands that are losing their culture, heritage, language, songs, traditions. Is that something that you're seeing, and is that a risk generally?
I guess yes, it can be a risk. Moreover, when you talk about globalization, and because it's obvious when you're here in Tahiti, you see a dominant culture, which is not the Pacific Island culture. The dominant culture is obviously Western culture, and so yes, if we don't take care of that, if we don't address the problem and face the issues of that, it can be a risk that our cultural heritage I don't think it would disappear, but it would be amalgamated with the Western influence, and but in the same way we have always done that kind of syncretism between a culture and another. So, and I also believe that every culture needs to evolve. So, and it does evolve from the creation within, that lies within, and sometimes it does borrow some elements from other cultures as well. So it's I think it's a tough balance to maintain and to have, and at the end of the day the culture will be what the people of tomorrow will make of it. Sorry. And my time is already past almost.
Not quite. On that subject as well, do you believe that tourism helps to protect and preserve that cultural heritage, or harms that cultural heritage?
It depends. That's another tough question, because I don't think that tourism. I don't think of the tourism as something harmful for our culture. I don't see it either like a preservative for our cultural heritage. I think I think it's the other way around, actually, that our culture should preserve and valorize the tourism here, and not in the other way. I don't know if it's clear, but
no, it is. I can kind of understand that. You think that the culture and the heritage that you have here should protect the tourism. It's really, that's quite an interesting.
Protect is not the word, the accurate word. I would say that it should maintain or drag a little bit more tourism, and that would be yes, maybe that's the best way to say it.
And finally, before we let you go, overall, are you optimistic, pessimistic, or neutral about the French Polynesian culture moving forward?
I'm very optimistic about that.
I love that. I love that. And why so?
Yes, because it's still, every Oceanian people are by nature resilient, really resilient in every way that people can be resilient. And I think, yes, and I am optimistic about that too, because the culture is still very lively, and everywhere you go around, you can hear the music. You can see a dancer. You can hear some texts, and we also have a very dynamic book industry in Tahiti, and even behind that, it means actually that we have the intellectual resources to make it evolve and to maintain our culture and to make it evolve, yes, and to adapt it to the future issues that we might encounter.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. That was really interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks to you.